Welcome back, everyone. So in today's video, I want to go over my stock photography earnings for the month of March 2024. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so March was overall an average month for me at this point. There wasn't anything exceptional and it wasn't anything too disappointing. So let's get into the numbers. The first agency I want to start off with is Adobe Stock. So on Adobe Stock, I have 1,396 photos, 188 illustrations, and 125 vectors, and 59 videos. I haven't been uploading much to Adobe Stock lately. I've been investing a lot of my time uploading images to Shutterstock. And I know that sounds insanely crazy, but I'll get into the reasons for that later on. So I sold 119 images on Adobe Stock for March, and the first one I want to talk about is an image that consistently sells well for me on Adobe Stock and across the other agencies as well. If you've seen my earnings videos, you'll know I'm big into the mental health space, and this image is a depression type photo, me just, kind of holding my head in agony or whatever you want to make of it. But yeah, these types of images sell all the time for me on Adobe Stock, Shutterstock, and Envato Elements. And this one overall for the month made $3 total. The next image is also a popular one for me on Adobe Stock, and that's of me holding my son when he was born in the hospital. Handed my wife the camera, and she took an image as I was doing skin to skin with my son there. That image made $5.39 on Adobe Stock. The next image is just one, depicting like care or support, and it's just my wife gently touching my hand. It's a close-up image, and that one made 98 cents overall for the month of March on Adobe Stock. This next image has been selling consistently since I've uploaded it last summer, and that's of my daughter eating a piece of watermelon. I took a series of these images, and they're very popular on Adobe Stock, and that's the only place I have them uploaded at the moment. This particular image made $1.98, but there's a few others in that series, and they did sell throughout the month as well. And this next image is of my wife sitting on the couch looking depressed and sad and whatever. That one made 96 cents for the month of March. And this next one was taken on the same day that I took that image of my daughter with the watermelon. And it's just my daughter looking out the window, looking bored, nothing to do. That one made 36 cents. And finally, I sold a video on Adobe Stock. I don't sell many videos on any platforms because I don't really upload videos. But anyways, this one, of me pretending to be a doctor, pulling up, substance into a syringe, that one sold for $16.98. So yeah, those are the highlights for Adobe Stock. And overall, like I said, I had 119 downloads, and in total I made $96.56. A decent month for me on Adobe Stock. All right, so before moving on to the next agency, I want to address the question of why do stock photography when the return is so low for the amount of work that you're putting into it. So, I can't speak for everyone else, but the reason I do stock photography is simply for the fact that I love photography in general. And whether or not I'm being paid for the images I'm taking, I will be taking photos. I will be doing photography. And I will be taking images of random things just for the beauty of it, or just to, artistically express myself in some way. And those images may or may not just sit on my hard drive taking up digital space. And I figure if they're gonna do that, if they're gonna take up digital space, they might as well take up digital space on these stock agencies where they stand a chance of making money. Whereas if they were sitting on my hard drive, they wouldn't make any money at all. So that's my reason for doing it, is that I would do it regardless of whether or not I'm making money. So I figured I should just put these on the agencies and stand a chance at making some money. I don't think stock photography is something that you should get into nowadays purely for the sake of making money, because you will be disappointed because of the amount of work that you put in and the very small return that you get in return. So yeah, if you're going into this purely for the sake of money, you will be disappointed. But if you love photography and you do it regardless of whether or not you're being paid for it, then I think stock photography is a viable means to potentially make some money off of those images that you take anyways. And you know, it gets your images out there. You know, you stand a potential of maybe one day seeing it on a billboard, like I have a couple times, or seeing it in magazines, and there's some joy that comes from that. There's some gratification. Whatever value you want to attach to that, there is some value in that. And yeah, so that's pretty much the reason I continue to do it, even though the returns are so low. That said, moving on, let's get to Envato Elements. So on Envato, I have 3,003 images across 2 profiles. It was my largest portfolio, but it no longer is, and I'll get to that in a second. So the first image I want to talk about is just a simple photo of me pulling out some charts from a filing cabinet, and that image earned $7 overall for the month of March. And this next one is just a simple image that I took, a creative one that I took a while ago, back when 2020 was around, and it's just my daughter and my wife taking a slice of pizza. It's an overhead shot looking down at the table, and yeah, surrounding the pizza there is a bunch of, you know, like garlic, tomatoes, and peppers, and overall that made $4.56. And this next image is a fall type photo. It's just a picture of you know, orange leaves with very blurry background, and that made $3.71. Moving on, we have this image of my wife putting up painter's tape. We were actually painting at the time, so this was not just a setup for the photo. Yeah, take advantage of those opportunities when they present themselves. You know, when you're doing something that looks like it could be worthy of stock imagery, definitely take some photos. Anyways, this one made $3.71. Moving on, we have just the most mundane type of stock imagery ever, and it's just a bunch of US dollars and US coins, you know, overhead shot, and that one made $3.54. Surprisingly, these things still sell, even though there's probably millions of them out there on the stock agencies. All right, so that brings us to the total, and if you've seen my videos before, you know that Envato Elements, there's crazy amount of sales, but you don't get that much in return. So I made $153.35 for about 1,483 downloads. It's insane. How they calculate their earnings is different from all of the other stock agencies. Not something I'm going to get into in this video. So Envato Elements typically is my largest earner every month since I've been doing these videos, pretty much. But I suspect that won't be for very long, because I've received an email that is tantamount to a stab to the chest. Shutterstock is in the process of acquiring Envato Elements. Yeah, that's in no way good news. So I suspect we're going to see Envato Elements go the way of Pond 5 or Big Stock. You know, Shutterstock is going to suck them in and slowly let them die off. I think that's what's going to happen. I hope it's not, but you know, as we've seen with like Pond 5 and big stock photos. That's kind of what happened. Pond 5 is still in existence, but from what I've been seeing from other contributors, it's not doing well, not like it used to when it was independent. And we all know what happened to big stock. They're no longer in existence. Moving on. Yeah, I want to throw in a quick image, a quick download from Dreamstime. Yeah, I made 35 cents on Dreamstime in March. And I put this up only because it's an AI image that I've sold for the first time. This is the first AI image that I've ever sold on Dreamstime, and I have about the same amount of AI images that I do on Adobe Stock. Okay, so the last agency I want to talk about is Shutterstock. So as I've said before, I've been conducting an experiment on Shutterstock. Yeah, so over the past 3 months or so, I've uploaded close to 2,000 images. Yes, 2,000 images. And they've been accepted. And my portfolio stands now at just a little over 4,000 photos. And that's coming from about 1,700 or so. And every single one of these photos were keyworded using this app that I created. I call it Envato AI. But yeah, keyword and titles were generated using that app. It uses AI to, look at the image, analyze what's in the image, and come up with relevant keywords and titles. Anyways, let's get to the sales. So all of these images that I'm about to show, and there's a lot more that have sold, all of these were titled and keyword with the application. And before moving on, another point of doing it this way is that I can take photos of just about anything, right? I'm no longer afraid to photograph things because I don't want to sit down and keyword them because of the mundaneness of those photos or what have you, the obscurity of the images. Case in point, here's just a simple image of a close-up of my mustache. And that image sold. I would never take the time to sit down and keyword that image. I really wouldn't. Here's yet another one that it would be hard to come up with keywords for this type of photo. And it's just an image of a dried shrub. And yeah, the software titled and keyword this image and it sold. Here's an image that is very relevant in the news cycle now for about 10 or so minutes. That's relevant because of what's going on in Port-au-Prince right now, basically an overthrow of the government. Anyways, it's a big story. Look it up if you're at all interested. But yeah, that was keyworded and titled by the AI. Next is just the simple image circling the date of April 15th on the calendar. And yeah, the AI titled and keyword that image and it sold. For the month of March 2024, I made 125 downloads on Shutterstock. And I haven't sold that many images on Shutterstock in quite a while. I'm talking about years. And it's simply for the fact that I've been able to upload a significant amount of images and they've been selling. But obviously, you know that the return from photos on Shutterstock is next to nothing. So all in all, I made $33.26 on Shutterstock for the month of March for those downloads. All right, so that brings us to a close. So yeah, for the month of March, I made $283.52. Overall, an okay month. It's not the best and it's not the worst. It's okay. All right, so if you found anything helpful or entertaining in this video, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss a video. Yeah, until next time, have a good one.